Lincoln, I discovered that he might have been, I suggest in a recent lecture, one of the first presidents to see empathy as an important political tool. And Mary might have been the person that allowed him, as someone who was poor, who was undereducated, who had to save up his money to buy his first shirt, who had to beg his father to be able to read, where Mary lived in privilege, yes, lived in wealth, yes, pushed out of her own home at a very young age, having a sense that she had all this education and what could she do with it? Teach and get a husband, because that was what young ladies did in the 19th century. So I felt as if there was a lot to say, and especially on a couple of issues. So one of the first questions that comes up is, was Lincoln gay? And I'm going to just set that one aside and say that one of the things that was great for me was that my friend Doris Goodwin had begun her study of Lincoln looking at Lincoln and Mary. And Mary dropped out along the way. This often happens. David McCullough was doing a study of Adams and Jefferson. And Jefferson dropped out, and we were left with Adams. So sometimes people find their topics outgrow them, and they go in a different direction. But I was pleased to think that in her original looking at this question of Lincoln, Doris had tackled the very question of Lincoln's relationship to Mary, in that she started looking at what was the social context of the day. How did Victorians communicate? How did people use language? And if you are a 19th century historian, you've read a lot of flowery language. And some of the language, I have in here, I can read it to you, but it's, Chase and Stanton wrote letters to one another. Seward also wrote letters. You're the one I think of. You're the one they don't say you're the one I love. Say, I love you deeply. I dream of you. Men writing to one another about this because they had a passionate attachment. Now, Lincoln also had many passionate attachments.